Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to create partitions to divide the fact internet sales table into smaller logical parts that can be processed independent of other partitions. To begin, I'm going to create a partition in the fact internet sales table. So inside the tabular model explorer, under the tables option, just expand the tables folder and then select the table called fact internet sales. Right click on it and select partitions. Inside the partitions manager, click on the copy button. Under the partition name, replace this name here that says partition-copy, replace it with fact internet sales 2010. So I've typed in a new name for this partition. It's going to be called fact internet sales 2010 because we want the partition to include only those rows within a certain period for the year 2010. In order to do that, we must modify the query expression. So here is the query expression. To do that, click on the design button here. That will load the query editor. And then inside the query editor, make sure that under queries, the fact internet sales query is selected, and then under the column heading for order date key, click on the drop down and then select number filter, and then within the number filter option select between, and you will notice in the data type it says whole number. So what we want to do next, we want to filter on the year, which is the first four numbers of the values in the order date key. So in the filter rows dialog box, which is this dialog box here, make sure the basic option is selected, and then in this portion that says keep rows where order date key, make sure that in this box here is greater than or equal to. Make sure that is selected, so don't change that. In the number field, we have to enter a value, so enter this value, which is 2010 0101, and then we have two operators here, and or. Make sure the and operator is checked. And in this box here, make sure you leave it as it is. It should say is less than or equal to. And in the number field here, I'm going to add a number. So make sure you add this number, which is 2011 0101. And then click on the OK button. After clicking on the OK button, you are returned to the query editor. Notice on the right, we have the applied steps, and you will notice another step has been added, which is called filtered rows. This filter is to select only the order dates from 2010. To import this filter data into the model, just double click on the import option here, and that will bring that data into the model. In the partition manager, click on the fact internet sales 2010 partition name, and then you would notice inside the query expression we have an additional row clause that says filtered rows. This statement basically specifies that this partition should include only the data in those rows where the order date key is in 2010 calendar year as specified in the filtered row clause. So only the rows that matches this criteria here will be available in the partition. I'm going to create 4 more partitions for different years. So I'm going to create partition for the year 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. I'll show you how to create for 2011, and then you can use the same process to create 2012, 2013, and 2014. In the partitions manager, make sure the partition called Fact Internet Sales 2010 is selected. Click on the copy button here and then change the name to 2011. I've changed the new partition name to Fact Internet Sales 2011. We do not need to use the query editor to create a new filtered row. This is because we've already created a copy of the query for 2010. So all we need to do is to make a slight change in the query for 2011. So in the query expression, we just need to change the value where it says 2010. We just change that to 11. And then here where it says 2011, you change the 11 to 2012. I want you to create 3 more partitions exactly the same way I created for the 2011. So you call it Fact Internet Sales 2012, 2013, and 2014. So just follow the procedure I use for 2011. So I've created 5 partitions for different years. So these are the partitions. Fact Internet Sales 2010. It's very important to make sure that the rows are filtered in the order specified in the query expression. And then this is for 2011. So it's very important that the rows are filtered correctly. And this is for 2012. And this is for 2013. And this is for 2014. So make sure you have all the partitions created the way I've specified. Now that we have partitions for each year, we can now delete the default partition in the Fact Internet Sales. Deleting the default partition prevents overlap when processing the partitions. So to delete the default partition, make sure the Fact Internet Sales table is showing up in the partition manager. Select the default partition, which is just called partition, and then click on the delete button, and that would delete the default partition. The next thing we're going to do is process the partitions. So if you look in the partition manager under the last process column, you can see here it's called never, which means that the partitions have never been processed. So we're going to do that now. To begin, click on OK to exit the partition manager. Next, click on the extensions tab here. Click on model and then click on process and then select process partitions. And a list of all your partitions will be listed. So make sure you check the box next to each of the partition that you want processed. Once you've done that, make sure you have all 5 partitions checked and click OK, and the partitions will be processed. So the operation is in progress. We'll give it a few minutes to complete the processing. The processing has completed, so we have the success tick here, and we have 5 partitions processed. There are no errors, and under the status it tells you the number of rows that were processed for each of the partitions. So when you're finished, just click on the close button. In this video, we created some partitions in the fact internet sales table. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.